Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, just with the common nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things through a common sense lens. And you know, we talked about this before. We talked about it in the video we did last week over Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy potentially leaving and getting fired or moving on or retiring or whatever, right? And we know we've seen this happen a lot of times before. We've heard these stories time and time again, right? But it's pretty funny to see that this particular rumor seemingly is now confirmed because of all of the speculation and the backlash, right? Kathleen Kennedy's own PR firm out there that said, you know, of course, she'll leave essentially when she wants to, but there are plans for certain things going on. Things are being molded apart. So basically confirming what Puck News had said out there. But the best part about this, and one of the things that we love to call out more than anything, is Hollywood hypocrisy. The access media, ladies and gentlemen, who of course get fed all of these lines of bull, and then of course they spout it right back out. I mean, look at all the examples of like all of these Instagram posts and these Twitter social media things, all using the exact same wording over and over again. Of course, we know about all of the lies of the $180 million that's all this movie cost to make, yada, yada, yada. We know this kind of stuff happens. Well, of all the places in the world, ladies and gentlemen, that you don't hear the name of in the entertainment industry very often is CNN. And it looks like CNN has got caught with their pants down, because even after they decided to go run cover for our dear sweet Kathy over the fact that, well, she'll leave Star Wars when she's good and ready after she's already murdered the corpse and everything else. She'll leave when she's good and ready. Well, it turns out that CNN, instead of confirming this with outside sources, it looks like they took nothing but literal BS spin directly from Kathleen Kennedy's own spin doctor themselves. And that, for one, is absolutely hilarious, because, ladies and gentlemen, all this seems to be is absolutely confirming that indeed, finally, after completely and totally murdering every IP that the Lucasfilm had, Kathleen Kennedy will indeed finally be leaving Star Wars. And although it's too little too late, at least we can take some semblance that she won't be able to destroy it any farther than she already has. So we're checking out this article from thatparkplace.com, laughing and ridiculing CNN's obvious hypocrisy, and once again proving why the shill access media can't be trusted. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let me know what you think about this. Does this basically seemingly confirm it to you that, yes, very obviously, Kathleen Kennedy is indeed on her, finally on her way out over there at Lucasfilm? Or do you believe the media spin out there? Do you trust CNN and think that no, all of that's true, and this Puck guy source with all of his news is completely and totally off base, and that Kathleen Kennedy will be there years to come? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Montanero. CNN Kathleen Kennedy source revealed. News network reportedly fed PR spin from Kathleen Kennedy's publicist and reported it as news. Oh, color of shock there, boys and girls. CNN was so lazy that instead of going out there and trying to find some independent sources before they put out this hit piece completely and totally defending our dear sweet KK over there at Star Wars, no, they just took it straight from her publicist's mouth, because I'm sure the publicist would never try to lie or warp or try to change any perceptions about what's going on with Kathleen Kennedy and her tenure over at Star Wars. No, they wouldn't do that. Yes, they absolutely would. That's exactly what a publicist's job is to keep you looking good in the media out there. And that's exactly what they've done. And now CNN is just a mouthpiece for that. CNN took another credibility hit this week after it seemingly ran defense for Kathleen Kennedy in what now appears to have been a blatant PR move. According to the information shared by Puck's Matt Bellinani, instead of calling him Baloney, Bellinani, I don't know. I'm horrible with names to begin with. The network published an article contradicting Puck's report that Kennedy is planning her exit from Lucasfilm, citing a vague, anonymous source close to the situation who claimed there was nothing there right now. Oh, really? And I love the idea of, like, you could technically technically say a source close to the situation and not be lying if you literally went and interviewed a bum that was sleeping next to like Disney's dumpsters in the back lot? I mean, literally, that would still be true. Well, it's a source close to the situation. Well, yeah. Are they knowledgeable of the situation, or are they just in proximity close? Is it a random person walking by Disney Star Wars, by Disney Lucasfilm outside? It's such a BS little thing out there. Now, baloney has exposed exactly what that source likely was. Kennedy's personal publicist, Simon Hall. Oh, yay. Color us shocked there. This raises a glaring issue. If Baloney's report is accurate, that means CNN didn't get tricked into running spin for Kathleen Kennedy. They knowingly participated in it. And yes, absolutely, you wouldn't see this much of a media hailstorm that's going on with all these people going back and forth at each other if this wasn't true. Like the legacy institutions out there have been running cover fire for KK and all those for ilk over there at Disney Star Wars for literally over a decade at this point. So why would this surprise anybody else out there? And Maloney's latest rebuttal to Deadline's Mike Fleming Jr., who ran an embarrassingly sympathetic interview with Kennedy to push back against Puck's reporting. And yeah, just, oh, you're the best. Oh, you're so wonderful. You've been so part of so many great projects that have been so successful. But of course, not wanting to actually tell the truth about Disney Star Wars and the current state it finds itself in, billions of dollars debt, a complete and total flop of a purchase for Disney. Yeah. Of course, they don't want to do all of that kind of stuff. So to push back against Puck's reporting, Baloney revealed a critical detail about the PR machine behind the scene. Partial blame here goes to Kennedy's personal publicist, Simon Hall, who's been busy this week spinning journalists that Kathy's timetable is all speculative and that there's nothing new here. I mean, seriously, we know Disney is broke and Star Wars is partially to blame for that, boys and girls. And guess what? That all falls on the head of the narcissistic psychopath that is Kathleen Kennedy, ladies and gentlemen. Don't believe me? It's literally been nothing but a self-insert for her in absolutely everything. I wonder what character she was in Willow. I'm not too sure. That language, because I, like most of you out there, didn't watch it. That language is eerily identical to what CNN's sources close to the situation told the network when they attempted to contradict Puck's report. There's nothing there right now was the direct quote CNN cited, which is identical to what her publicist said. I wonder where that information that CNN got came from. There's nothing there right now was the direct quote CNN cited. If Baloney is correct, and given his deep industry connections, it's hard to imagine he's wrong. This means CNN wasn't reporting news. They were publishing PR spin directly from Kennedy's team without disclosing the source's agenda. This is a serious breach of journalistic integrity, which is why nobody trusts them anymore. Nobody watches them anymore. That's why their ratings are failing miserably. I think there was a tweet I saw from Kelly. I can't remember her first name now. It's like Michael Michelle Kelly or something like that. I used to watch her on Fox all the time back in the day. But now she's all independent, got her own podcast, right? Her views on YouTube are literally only and she has one show with 6 producers. You know what I mean? They put clips out and stuff like that, obviously. But their one show with 6 producers is only 10 million or 15 million views less than all of CNN with all their shows and the billions of dollars that they spend on all of that stuff. Yeah. Tell me anybody in the actual common sense folks out there are still paying attention to anything CNN says. And it's examples like this are exactly why that is the case. The key issue here isn't that CNN was misled. It's that if what Baloney said is true and his verbiage came directly from Kennedy's publicist, they knew exactly what they were doing and still chose to run with the story. Because you know what? If you want to run with it, say Kathleen Kennedy's publicist refutes yada, yada, yada. But that's not what they did. They did this as one of their own personal anonymous sources are contradicting what this is said. But if it was actually Kathleen Kennedy's publicist, well, that's kind of obvious that you can't trust anything that comes out of their mouth, right? So a network with CNN's resources knows full well that a personal publicist is not an impartial source. That's their entire job is to shape public perception in favor of their client. Yet instead of disclosing that the information was from Kennedy's PR team, CNN hid the source behind a vague phrasing to make it seem like an objective insider. This is not journalism, it's corporate propaganda, which is exactly why all of the independent journalists, all the independent media All the independent commentators out there have risen up and replaced the legacy media because of this kind of stuff over and over again. We call them access media. And the best part is some of them out there go, we're not access media, we're not shills, yada, yada, yada. And then literally show videos of them getting access with people like this that work inside of Star Wars over here. I mean, it was insane. They're like, we're not shills, we don't have access media, we're not only doing this because we get access, and then show you like literally with the people that were responsible for the disastrous dumpster fire that was the Acolyte. I mean, that's insane. Leslie Headland, Harvey Weinstein's former assistant out there. I mean, literally, that's how stupid these people are, and that's how stupid they think you are, that they can get away with this, and you're not going to find out the truth, and you're not going to discover that there's a bunch of lying pool of cesspools. And so, yes, Kathleen Kennedy's out, boys and girls. She is on her way out, and CNN lying about it and running cover for all this kind of stuff is just more proof of that. Would the network have done the same if a studio executive had leaked the opposite story, confirming Kennedy's exit? Unlikely. Instead, it appears as though CNN chose to shield this Kathleen Kennedy PR narrative behind the illusion of neutral reporting, which if anybody that still thinks CNN is neutral, like at any point over the last, few decades, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you, because holy cow. This raises another question. Why would CNN rush for Kennedy's defense in the first place? Because it's all true. Puck's news reporting was all true. Because retirements, especially at an executive level like hers, that is stuff that gets planned months in advance. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I was in the military, right? I was in the Air Force, and I used to help set up certain people's retirements and stuff like that. That is something that, especially when they've been in for 20 years or 25 years or in some cases 30 years, that is something that takes months of preparation to get ready. I can only imagine it's going to be even bigger with something at a mega corporation like the Walt Disney Company, right? So one possible explanation is access journalism. Of course, a common but unethical practice in which media outlets trade favorable coverage for continued insider access. We know this is absolutely true. Kennedy has long been a Hollywood power player, and her team undoubtedly has deep media connections. By running a defensive piece for Lucasfilm president, CNN likely ensured that they remain in good standing with her and Disney for future coverage. Access media shills, which is why we don't believe anything out of their mouths. And like I said, why else would they want to do this? In other words, CNN did report the news. They not only ran PR spin as fact to maintain industry relationships. And of course, the situation isn't just about Kennedy. It's part of a longer media credibility crisis, yada, yada, yada. The facts remain unchanged. Kennedy herself admitted that succession planning is happening, and an announcement will come within the next year. No amount of CNN spin will change that, and that's an absolute fact. We know that you can't trust the legacy media. That's why commentators, that's why actual journalists out there, that's like people that have reliable sources that can talk about this thing. All these new websites have popped out. I mean, Film Threat's doing great right now because of what they did, because they're honest brokers of the journalistic integrity and the news. It's the same thing with obviously That Part Place, who we're reporting on. And there's a reason why we don't like using like Deadline and CNN and sources like that, because those are people we know we can't trust. And honestly, I don't want to promote their stuff either. I will use them if I have to, but I prefer, even if That Part Place is reporting on what Deadline said, or if Cosmic Book News is reporting on what The Hollywood Reporter said, I would much rather go and use them and show you their websites, because that's where all of this stuff comes. That's where all of us need to go for our information that can be very reliable and verified. And guess what? CNN ain't it. They have lied again and used PR spin and decided to report it as fact, all because guess what? It is true. Kathleen Kennedy is finally leaving Disney Star Wars, Disney Willow, Disney Indiana Jones, and guess what? It doesn't matter, because Star Wars is dead, and Kathleen Kennedy is responsible for that. She did it, and now she's going to get a bunch of accolades and a bunch of rewards and everything else. But you know what, boys and girls? At least the witch will have finally left the building. And who knows, if the reports are true about Disney trying to sell off Star Wars, we might actually get good Star Wars content again. But that is certainly not going to happen anytime soon. And guess what? At least the witch will finally be gone. Take some solace in that, boys and girls. It's been a very long and hard-fought battle, and you deserve any win you want to put in your cap. And trust me, it's the fans that caused Kathleen Kennedy's exit over there at Disney Lucasfilm. Fans decide, not studio executives.